over the last few years, it's become abundantly clear to me that Americans and people that I have the most exposure to, and people I encounter in the wild, by and large, care a lot more about money and their own interests and weapons and their ability to be unkind and cruel to others than they do about other human beings and human rights and utilizing compassion or empathy, or even just knowing the truth about like anything. The last few years, it's made it very clear to me that people, a lot of them, are quite happy to be lied to as long as the lie is something that they want to hear, as long as it allows them to other groups of people who are different from themselves, as long as it allows them to maintain a hatred or a fear of anything that isn't just like them, anything that they don't already fully understand. If it allows them to feel superior to others, that is a thing that people are happy to be told lies if it allows them to continue that. And it's amazing because, I live in the same world as everybody else. I wasn't given an abundance of leg up in the world. I understand that I do have a certain amount of privilege because of the level of melanin that I don't have. Um, I get that, but um, I didn't come from generational wealth. I didn't um, grow up in a super well-to-do community. We to be fair, we had a home and a roof over our heads, and that was a huge privilege to have, given how many people live paycheck to paycheck. And um, I was lucky in that I had a decent school district to attend school. But money is one of the biggest tools to go further in this world than you currently are. And definitely getting a lot of that money handed to you directly without ever having to work for it is probably the biggest advantage you can have. And even though 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, I don't know the exact percentage of us that are actually considered to be living below the poverty line. Um, Even though the vast majority of the human populace is much closer to being completely destitute than ever earning $1 billion, uh, people still look at money like it is somehow a measure of value of human character. And people don't care if they're lied to. People don't care if others have their rights stomped on. Um, it feels every day of my life, it feels more and more apparent that um, the number of people who actively consider what their actions um, do to those around them, the impact that they have on others, it seems like that number of people is quite minuscule, actually. Um, I have spent almost every waking moment of my entire life being consumed with how my actions impact the people and the world around me. Uh, it's always been my personal um, my personal value and moral structure that I should be helping, actively helping anyone who has less advantages than I do, and I should not be trying to hinder anybody else's success. Um, it's always been my personal moral value structure that people should be considerate of one another and should exercise compassion and patience and understanding and kindness as much as possible. And it's always been very important to me that I leave things certainly at least as good as they were when I found them. But ideally, to me, I want to leave things better than I found them in every situation possible. And it feels every day of my life like that is a not commonly held feeling and belief. To me, just simply being kind, not necessarily nice. Like, there's nice, which is sugarcoating things to someone's face and trying not to hurt their feelings at that moment. But that doesn't mean that you're going to do anything to try to help others. And it doesn't mean that the nice things that you're saying are actually beneficial and are actually reflective of how you feel and would treat them should there be no consequence. I'm not so much worried about niceness. I'm more worried about kindness. I'm more worried about the intention behind the actions and words than I am about the words. And it feels to me like the vast majority of people are not living in that world and not holding that set of morals. And as I've gotten older, I've actually become strangely thankful that certain relatives are not alive today, because I know the hateful rhetoric that they would be spouting in the current American socio-political landscape. And I am appreciative that I don't have to hear them say the things that I got to pretend that they would never fall for, or never believe in. I catch myself thinking things these days that are not in line with what my moral compass would say. Like, I don't think anybody should wish and hope that somebody drops dead. And I'm not saying by violent means just even natural causes, even a peaceful, painful death. I don't think it's appropriate to wish people dead. And yet I do catch myself with certain individuals, not entire groups, just certain individuals, based off of the ill will that they sow and the hatred and vitriol and lies and toxicity that spills from everything that they say and do, and the harm that their decisions and actions have. I do catch myself with certain individuals just hoping they'll die, just hoping they'll drop dead, and that we can all collectively as a society move on. I find myself in absolute awe and horror at how intensely people can hate huge groups of people they've never met, never known, never spoken to or with, whose actions and identities have no bearing on their own on anybody but themselves. You know what I mean? Like, if what they do hurts no one, and doesn't impact you to feel like you are morally superior to them, simply because of their identity, whether it be the wrapper that they come in, their skin, their body shape, whatever they were assigned at birth, whatever their genitalia is, or whoever they love. Like, The idea that so many people are so eager to hate uh, and dismiss and mistreat and rob certain groups of um, their liberties, their rights, their lives is horrifying to me. And the thing is, it's not new. This is not a new development in humanity. Um, Humans have fought with humans since we first became humans. Um, but I find as I grow older every day, every single day, it is astounding to me how often people will choose the lies and the hatred that they are fed over just having some modicum of kindness or tolerance of people who are different from themselves. And I'm not talking about people who do things that are harmful to you. You know, like if if all people who were born with green skin, by their very core, were incapable of not coming to your house and shitting on your floor. So every single green person always came into someone else's house and took a dump on their floor. I could understand not liking green people, but this is not a thing that is happening. That doesn't mean that people won't just hate them for being different, right? And that's like, I know that's like a really abstracted and oversimplified example, but the reality is, like, if what is happening is not impacting your day-to-day life, they're just going about their lives, they're interacting with other human beings who are adults and are, you know, have their own free will and choose to interact with them in a certain way, and they are not harming other people, you don't need to hate them and you don't need to vilify them. And we have countless examples throughout history where leaders rose to power by telling lies, what they knew were lies, and vilifying specific groups that they could marginalize easily, and then telling other followers these specific groups are the root of all of your problems, but I, and only I will be able to help you and solve those problems by, you know, getting that group of people under control. We've seen countless leaders do this, and we've seen countless slaughters and genocides as an immediate result. And growing up, I thought everybody kind of knew that these were bad things. But it seems like most people are happy to be told that there is just one group that is responsible, or a few groups, but they're small groups and they're different from them. They're responsible for all of the ails and the problems in society, and they are happy to be told that, and then they are happy to be told that one leader is the only way that that problem will be solved, and they don't care if it's a lie. They don't want to be informed of the truth. They seek out only people who repeat the same line and don't offer them any other information. And I believe very much in holding people accountable for their decisions and their actions, especially when those decisions and actions harm people. But I don't believe in holding everybody of a certain group responsible for a small handful of people doing something that is not reflective of that group as a whole. But Americans have been doing that for a long time and probably will continue to do that. And I watch people repeat steps that other dictators have done. I watch power-hungry people just trying to climb the ladder and try to take rights from other people, try to do anything they can to get more power and more money. And absolutely horrifying. And how anyone could be so comfortable being fed lies and make no effort to inform themselves of the real situation is beyond me. Yeah, I genuinely, for a very long time in my life, thought we were past that as humanity, as far as human beings were concerned. I genuinely thought we were past that. And that's as much my willingness to be lied to, I guess, as somebody who is hateful being willing to be lied to. Because I wanted to believe that people were better than that. I wanted to believe the world was safer than it once was. I wanted to believe that we would never repeat the same steps of other genocidal regimes. It was nice believing that. It's not the world I live in. It's not the world any of us live in. And that's terrifying to me. And yeah, in America, there's an election coming, and I am thankful that at least this time around, I'm not being told that the two candidates are the same as one another. And I'm thankful that I'm not being told that it's, choosing the lesser of two evils. But the reality is that there is a very real possibility that yet again we will end up with a leader who frankly would feed anyone into a wood chipper if he thought for a second it would make their net worth even like a penny higher. If they thought it would give them just a modicum of extra power. And is willingly already trying to feed huge swaths of our population into a metaphorical wood chipper by vilifying them. And it's dangerous, it's horrifying, it's mortifying, it's disgusting, and it's frightening. To anybody who's a part of a marginalized community, it's pretty terrifying to see that we're repeating certain steps and we're climbing toward another catastrophic situation wherein certain people are in very real physical danger, very real mortal danger. And we're just expected to have a civil discourse around this. I'm not worried about dollars and cents. I'm not worried about, money right now. I'm really not. But if you want to get into it, no, under someone's previous reign, we weren't doing fiscally better. I specifically wasn't, and just as a whole, we were not. Crime was up. Fatal crime was up. Certain types of violence were way, 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 way up. And we are looking at this possibly happening again. And then not only that, but there are plans in place that as soon as this person takes office, will be taking away rights that our founding fathers thought were super important. We've got somebody who has outright said that they want to make it illegal to speak against them, that they want to control what the press can say, that these forms of public demonstration and protest that have always been a huge part of the democratic process, that they want to stop that and they want to stomp it out. And this person's supporters, they're okay with that because right now that doesn't impact them specifically. And this brings me back to my concern about the way that people are not capable of empathy and human decency and relating to others, being able to like think about, okay, but what happens when my opinion doesn't agree with this person's opinion and I want to voice it publicly? What happens then? Like, these people are not thinking about the way that this has far-reaching implications, because right now that plan wouldn't hurt them. Right now they would be safe. We've seen this, first they came for this and I didn't say anything, then they came for that and I didn't say anything, and now they're coming for me and now there's nobody left. We've seen this, we've been taught this, we've been told this over and over again. We know the risks, and there's huge swaths of Americans who either don't understand, don't know the history, don't want to be reminded, or frankly are really excited about it, and that's also horrifying. And we have a situation where we may very well end up with a candidate that wins the popular vote but loses again in the electoral vote, or whatever. And that's also a whole other thing. I understand the development of the Electoral College was meant when we didn't have nationally available broadcasts. Most of our foundational documentation and everything was not made when we had the types of technology that we have now that make it possible for all of the states to be informed of the situation, that account for the fact that some states have a populace that's quite smaller than others and thus shouldn't have a substantial overweighted counter to much more populated areas. People vote, not land. If you have one person living in a square mile, their vote shouldn't cost more or have more weight than 10 or 100 people living in 1 square mile. Each of those votes should have the same weight. And we don't live in a world where that's happening right now. And it's frightening to imagine that I could be looking at another regime that actively wants people like me to die, and whose supporters might actually go ahead and do something to make that happen. And I don't think I'm going to survive a term under one of these candidates. I'm terrified what happens under one of these candidates. And to see so many people be unfazed by the very real possibilities, by the things that happened under this person before. Because people would rather be lied to if it allows them to feel superior, and if it allows them to hate and vilify something that's other than themselves. And that's absolutely frightening. And people don't know how to find reputable information. People only know how to find their own echo chamber, and they don't want to be challenged in their views. They don't want to be told that maybe in the past they've made a morally dubious decision. People would rather have never been wrong than redeem themselves in the present. So if that means being lied to so that you get to pretend that you were always in the right, a lot of people will choose that. And I'm fucking terrified. All of this is very frightening. And every sign that I see for this one candidate is at least letting me know who won't be safe to be near. It's at least letting me know who some of the people who might actively try to physically harm me while I'm minding my business. It's letting me at least know where those people live currently. And that's all I can do now, is just know who is less safe to be near. It's frankly terrifying to me. Just ask yourself who you want to be. Who you want to be. Do you want to be someone who allowed yourself gleefully to be deceived? Do you want to be someone who actively helped oppress and harm others? Do you want to be someone who is not safe to be near? Some people are fine with that. I know some people in this country and globally are quite content to be that. But I do think some people are just unknowingly perpetuating and helping assist some really harmful shit. Not all of them. I think a lot of them do know and they just don't want to admit to it to themselves or to others. But I think there probably are some people who just still don't know. Several years ago, I was accused of hyperbole for pointing out that there was a candidate who very much wanted an authoritarian reign, who very much wanted power above all else, and was extremely fascist and would love to be a dictator. I was accused of hyperbole then, and we see now how many people now realize that that is the case. And not even secretly. This candidate has been pretty clear about their desire to have full control over everybody's everything. Has been pretty candid about their absolute greed and their desperate craving for power and control. But that's not a red flag for a lot of people. And that's also a whole other thing. Anyway, be safe out there. The horrors persist, but so do we. If you take meds, remember to take them. Drink something that doesn't have alcohol or caffeine in it, because those are going to dehydrate you. All right. Be safe, guys.